What's up, you guys? Sean Ross Sapp. It is February 5th. This is the Wednesday Night War podcast. We're talking NXT. We're talking AEW. Talking a little bit of everything. Make sure you guys leave us a thumbs up, subscribe, turn on that or hit that bell. It'll let you know when we're live. If you're watching live on YouTube, well, you can donate a super chat, get your question or statement read on the air. That helps us out, helps us pay our writers, our podcasters, even the ones who do live streams on Patreon while the List and Your Boys going on. Warren Hayes, how you doing?
Oh, that was a shot at me? Oh, okay. Hi.
The Wednesday early evening wars.
Exactly. They've officially been rung. Listen, it's because my own secret financial backer has told me it was a good idea to do that, so I just went for it.
We are also joined by Alex Pawlowski. He hosts Sour Graps, and he is being given back-end access, not like that, you pervs, to Fightful Select so he can post his streams as soon as they go live.
That's true. Yeah, no more will I be like, hey, Sean, are you awake?
Are you awake at 3:45 a.m. Eastern?
You up?
Yeah,
you up,
one of those. No more sliding in my DMs.
I slide into Sean's DMs and send him you up texts to see if it's okay to post the stream. But now I got to do it myself. Yes. So the thing is, I always like to make sure I wait for long enough to be well beyond when the regular Fightful post shows are going on. I don't want to conflict with that thing because, that's not good.
You hate conflict. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Yes. So I have a scheduling conflict in a couple of weeks that I actually said that I would explain on the air as we got into it. I will not be on I think it's February 21st SmackDown episode. It'll be Warren and a partner of his choosing. But I was explaining to Warren, well, I'm going to this Impact show. I'm going to get some interviews and the like. And my IRL best friend, as I call him, Nikita Krylov fan, Corey Cropper, who pops up here once in a while, I sent him this video. I was like, hey, they're running this show here. And he's like, dude, that's next door to my house. And then I realized I play Bible-themed mini golf at this place. Why are you looking at me like that, Warren?
Tell me what Bible-themed golf is like. I mean, I up here in atheist socialist Canada, but this doesn't make sense to me right now.
I'm not going to pretend like I'm a religious guy, and I'm not going to get into that, but you have no idea how batshit crazy the Bible is until you've golfed through it. Let me tell you, when you hit the 6 over par... When you hit the 6 over par, you're sitting around going, now, come on, King James messed with some stuff. It couldn't have been this hard. Like, I'm out there golfing like Methuselah, like I'm 1,000 years old at this point, trying to part the Red Sea. I'm serious. Me and my best friend go Jesus golfing at least 2 or 3 times a year. My wife goes with us too. It's phenomenal. You can't get all the course done in one day. You'll be there for like 6 hours. It is amazing. My bachelor party, go-karts, laser tag, strip club, Jesus golf. That's how it went down. Man. Oh. And let me tell you, there are times when I look down at my score and I'm like, damn, I really did get nailed to the old rugged cross today. Man. Remember, guys, I will be hosting an event WrestleMania week. Sean Ross Sapp Served Tall, presented by Primetime Pro Wrestling, April 2nd, 4 p.m. at the Copper Tail Brewery, Tampa, Florida. Make sure you check it out. I believe the tickets are available now, so go check it out. Jonathan Gresham, Fred Yehai already announced for that show. But let's go ahead and hit you guys with it. Warren, one word, who won?
AEW.
I'm going with AEW too. Even though the big return at the end of NXT was special, I'm going with them. Alex, let's round it out. Who you got?
NXT.
Of course you do. Of course.
Yeah,
you
I
do.
know. I'm co-opted.
You are co-opted. I bet Roderick Strong shaved your head, and now you work for NXT. I just know.
Roderick Strong shaved my head, and in an interesting twist, Killian Dane shaves my back.
Wow.
So there you go.
Now, here's the thing.
That's wild.
I am accepting responsibility, credit, whatever you want to say, for the Nightmare Collective breaking up. My hair was so strong, as they say on the Twitter, so strong and full of strength, that it broke up the Nightmare Collective. It is almost Valentine's Day. I accept donations via PayPal. I have Cash App, Super Chats. You all can subscribe to FightfulSelect.com. You're welcome for me breaking up the Nightmare Collective. Michael Moore
was just too pure. It was just too pure.
It's true. And when Kong cut it, Melanie said, "To hell with this. This is nobody I can associate with." Japanese deathmatch legend Luther, he said, not happening. You all can hear all about that experience on the Fightful Backstage Report podcast. It is on FightfulSelect.com. Michael Morgan says, "This is for the Bible golf conversation. My life is for the better now. Thank you." Joseph Farley says, "Bible golf is the most Kentucky thing I've heard you say, Sean." Eloquent says, "Hangman Page holding the beer pitcher was great." Yeah, my friend actually tried to get me to play Bible golf for like a year and a half before I actually did. And I was like, that sounds dumb. Then I played it, and it ruled. If anybody is ever in Lexington, I will play you in Bible golf. It will happen. We will set something up. But let's go ahead and talk AEW Dynamite. So Jericho, Sammy Guevara, Jake Hager join the commentary team before the opening match begins, which is Moxley versus Ortiz with Santana. We see Moxley going after Santana's eye, which I thought was great after this match. But Jon Moxley wins. You knew he was going to win. But Warren, how'd you feel about this opening match?
I liked it. I thought it was a good, strong match between them both. Played off both of their strengths. Ortiz had a couple of crazy spots, like the cannonball senton off to the floor, which was really good. I'd like him to be. I don't know if he's holding back or whatever, but we know Ortiz can be crazier than this in the ring. So that's kind of what I was expecting. So it didn't live up to my expectation. That being said, it wasn't a bad match at all. I thought it was a strong opener. It was a strong showing. I liked the post match angle. And I'm wondering if Jon Moxley is just going to go around blinding all of the inner circle moving forward. Maybe that'll be the thing. Maybe his strategy is, look, if everyone has poor death perception, maybe I'll just be able to win the title come the pay-per-view.
If we don't get a Jon Moxley eye for an eye promo, I don't even know what we're doing here.
Well, there's that, and also there's in the land of the blind, the one-eyed man is king. Maybe he's gonna eventually just make everybody blind, and then he's one-eyed.
Man,
there you go.
I like this. Jon Moxley was always going to win. Make sure you guys check out my interview, the most downloaded sit-down interview we've ever done, and it's still doing good numbers. Thank you guys so much for checking that out. But I mean, guys, I don't know if you guys checked out the interview. It was weird. I didn't know what Jon Moxley to expect when I talked to this guy. And the thing is, I didn't want necessarily the Moxley that had the Jericho and Keller interviews, because we've seen that Jon Moxley. My interview is not going to do better numbers than a lot of guys because, quite frankly, our YouTube algorithm ain't that great. But I wanted to see if there was a positive Jon Moxley, and I didn't even have to conjure that up for him. Like, my first question was, what do you think are some of the things AEW's hit a home run on? And he launches off into this 3 or 4 minute tangent about how happy he is to work. This isn't the guy that we knew, Alex. And
no,
I know that even sometimes I'll poke at you a little bit about how negative you are about NXT, or not NXT, WWE.
Yeah.
But we heard that same thing from a top guy in the company who was making good money and they were throwing more money at. And now that he's out of it, Alex, we're seeing him act like he's you watching a Randy Orton Edge segment.
Yeah. Yes. Well, the idea being that, listen, I don't begrudge anybody who says, listen, I want to get that bag. I want to secure the bag. I want to get as much money as I can because this isn't going to last forever. I don't begrudge anybody who says that is very important to me and my family, whatever. But for those who it feels like maybe their art, because Edge in that segment that I love so much, he says, this is an art form. The people who do this is an art to us. And for those people who really believe that, there's a lot of people within WWE that don't get to practice art. They're just out there just doing crap that they're being told to do. And for those who value their art more than their financial security, or because listen, I'm sure he's not getting paid in peanuts to work for AEW either. So just the idea that if money's not the most important thing, if your art is to be able to like go somewhere where you feel like you actually are able to produce that art the way you want to, speaking as an artist, like who studied, the art of acting, like actually went into debt to go to grad school for it, like, and did it on a stage for years. There were certain times where I was like, this is not it. This is not art. I'm not doing what I want. I'm just being asked to do something I don't believe in. And those were the productions I hated and couldn't wait to get out of. And the ones that I loved were the ones that let me do my art the way I wanted to. So I totally identified with everything he was saying in that interview.
Yep. I mean, anybody who is sort of had that frustrating work experience can probably relate to that. I thought that was a pretty good analogy. Chris Ferris says, I'm in Northern Kentucky. Let's golf soon. Hey, whenever you're in Lexington. Once I move to Lexington, boy, I'll be able to be a pastor by the time I'm done with things. I'll have that Bible memorized like the back of my hand. Oh, Sean 316 says, I just dropped a goddamn eagle. How about that one? Best friends with Orange Cassidy against SCU. SCU end up winning. They get a title shot next week. What'd you think of the match in particular, Warren?
I liked it. These are two teams that I really like, and I really like Best Friends. I really do. I like Barrett. I like Chucky T. They work really well together. I think, even back when they were in New Japan, it just worked. They just work really, really well together. I thought it was, a solid match. I love they weren't afraid to lay into each other. Beretta's, I think he's sometimes overlooked because he's really, really good. Chucky T's a good partner to play off because he's more self-depreciating. He pokes fun at himself, whereas Beretta's, he sees himself as a real pro wrestler kind of thing. So I like the dichotomy between them both. It works well. We're getting back around to this situation where are the dominant tag teams, in AEW. I think you tweeted this out as earlier this evening, Sean. The idea is the tag team division is probably the main aspect in which AEW differentiates itself from all regular weekly wrestling programming that we have on a consistent basis. It's always the tag teams that you can turn to for really, really good stuff. But who are the real dominant tag teams? They 50-50 a lot. They waffle on a lot of them. We need to get some really strong tag teams that we can get behind, get put into really interesting programs. I wouldn't have minded a really long reign for SCU if it would have meant that we would really see them as a proper dominant tag team. Now the field feels even, which isn't a bad thing because you can create surprises, so on and so forth. But at the same time, you do want to be able to root for and root against certain teams. And they're not doing a bad job. I think they can do a better job.
Yeah, my problem with they 50-50 a whole lot of people. And the thing that does kind of save that a little bit is the fact that you've got a little bit more stakes in every single match because eventually that does add up. And eventually they can make a case for a tag title match or a singles title match based on that and based on the rankings accordingly. But, I mean, like Shawn Spears is 0-3 in a tag team right now because he's trying to find the right partner, and I like that. I like that story, but most people don't have a damn clue what's happening. Most people don't even realize that Colin Delaney was his partner yesterday. A lot of people don't realize that. I don't know if there's even a team that has 2 tag team wins this year yet in the annual rankings. Like, I want to see some tag teams stand out and do well. And one of those needs to be the Young Bucks, because pretty soon people are going to start. I mean, they probably already have. Like, who are these guys? Well, I know they're featured a lot, but if they didn't watch anything but WWE before this, they might not have a clue.
Yep, absolutely.
Go ahead.
Just one last observation here. Call me old school, but let's say I'm a promoter. Let's just say I'm a wrestling promoter, and I like to make money. And I have one guy who comes to the ring and gets a huge reaction, like Orange Cassidy. I'm putting that guy in matches.
Yeah, eventually
right?
You gotta.
What's that?
You gotta. You have to.
At this point, the trio makes perfect sense. They're fantastic together. But goddamn, man, you have to put Orange Cassidy in matches. And it's not even a question of whether or not he's going to prove the haters wrong, because he will. Once he starts wrestling, people will realize that this guy can go. And when it's time to sell proper offense, people will sell proper offense. And it makes the gimmick come full circle. I have people talking about Orange Cassidy who've never seen an Orange Cassidy match on the indies. So they're like, well, the minute he starts wrestling, it kills the gimmick. No, it enhances the gimmick. It brings it completely full circle. And he gets the biggest reactions outside of Cody, maybe.
Yeah, he's working one match a month. One match a month in AEW. He's working the indies.
That said, good for him. Good for him if he can work that kind of schedule,
Yeah.
But, I mean, this is the guy. I'm not saying strap the world title onto him right now, but, I mean, you're experimenting with some guys on one hand, but on the other hand, you have dudes who are over right now that you're not using properly.
Dark Order comes out and attacks both SCU and Best Friends, but Orange Cassidy hits the ring. Evil Uno offers him a mask, but Cassidy refuses, and he gets jumped, but Christopher Daniels makes the save. I have an interview with Christopher Daniels that just went up. He talks about Chris Jericho being vocal backstage. It's a very good interview. Check it out, youtube.com/Fightful or just Fightful.com. This segment that kind of wrapped things up, does it feel to you like they're killing a little bit of time until they can get a hold of whoever might be this person, whether it be Brody Lee or Matt Hardy or
Christopher Daniels.
Christopher Daniels, the fallen angel.
Would that be the best rib ever? The guy who was reported to be the head of the corporate ministry, who was supposed to be, it's me, Austin, it's me all along, was supposed to be him, and then he gets revealed.
Here's the deal. Here's how you're gonna do the rib. The way he reveals it is by pulling off the thing and going, it was me all along.
Well, yes. I hope so, because let me tell you, I interviewed him about that, and I already have the Photoshop made. So I have his head comically enlarged on top of Vince McMahon's, all ready to go for an article next week, and that is a shoot. That is legit. He was also supposed to be revealed as like Vampiro's superior around that time. And in the interview, he says, I shouldn't have been either one of those. Do you know how weird it would have been for a guy much smaller, less experienced, and less established to play the Undertaker or Vampiro's superior? So he's very aware of that. But this might fit. I think Vegas betting odds got to be Chris Daniels, Matt Hardy, Brody Lee. Those got to be the top three.
Yeah.
I'd agree. If Hardy heads over to AEW, because I mean, if we just spitball for a second here, the Hardys are shoo-ins for Hall of Fame and all that jazz. Like, they have guaranteed life at WWE at any given moment.
Well, they have guaranteed paychecks there. That's for damn sure. WWE doesn't want him to go anywhere, but Jeff's on the hook for another year at least.
No, for sure. But the idea is, it would Matt, because it's a battle line then. If he goes to AEW, it's the same thing with Chris Jericho, where they start scrubbing him out of history, where they edit the old interviews that they have to edit Jericho out and get his music out.
Until his contract's up. And then they won't. Rob Wilkins says, 3 of the 4 horsemen on my screen, neato. Well, we're missing Mongo, so Jeremy Lambert would be our Mongo. I'll just say that.
I'm fine with
that. He carries around a little dog. Eloquent says, did you see the mixed tag match on AEW Dark? Warren, did you check that out?
I have not yet because I was very much focused on NWA Power, but this is something that I was looking forward to watching after. Sorry.
I'm actually watching that tonight. And Eloquent also says, how did you feel about how did you feel about how Awesome Kong was written off? I was there, I saw it, and when I saw that, I was like, that's why they wanted me to come to Cleveland. Because originally we were supposed to do this in Chicago, and at the end of the month at Revolution, and they kept saying, Cleveland, come to Cleveland. And I'm like, Jesus, I don't really want to, but hey, let's do Cleveland. And then a few hours after that, that's when they filmed the turn, and I was like, okay, I see why they did it now. So they had this plan for several weeks, as I wrote on FightfulSelect.com. Subscribe today. I thought it was pretty good. I thought it was they needed to do it for a few different reasons. One, it wasn't very good. Two, Kong's going away for a while. Sure. I would love for them to integrate Glow into a story eventually. If WWE's not going to, they should.
Sure.
Up next, Britt Baker loses a match to Yuka Sakazaki. After the match, Britt Baker grabs the ring bell and attacks Yuka. They do a spot where Baker curb stomped Sakazaki on the bottom rope, and it broke off a tooth. She spit it out, and she's bleeding. That was my favorite part of this. Her losing a tooth, bleeding, and then Britt doing all that. For all I care, all due respect to both women, this could have been a 5-second roll-up win. As long as Britt Baker did that and Yuka Sakazaki won, it got one person over, it got two people over. I thought this was it accomplished what it needed to do, Warren.
The heelishness looks good on Britt, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It works, right? Maybe she's getting a few tips at home at the same time, right? Maybe, I'd go to that source in a minute. Are you kidding me? The match was well structured for that. I mean, Yuka is a natural baby face. She's tiny, she's smiling, she's full of energy. And so, getting the, one could consider a surprise win over Britt Baker. So that makes everyone happy, makes the post-match angle all the more dastardly. I really liked it. I actually thought this was a really good match overall. There were a couple of rough spots throughout, nothing too egregious. We've seen worse on AEW with the women. I thought this was one of their better matches. And I think that Britt transitioning to a heel style is going to play off her strengths, or at least do a bit of smoke and mirrors on her weaknesses. I think it's going to be a very, very good move for her career, and I hope they bring back Yuka Sakazaki more and more. She's fantastic, and if you guys want to see a very recent match, an excellent match that she had, Pro Wrestling Eve at Wrestle Queendom 3 just a couple of weeks ago. She had a great match against Lana Austin. One of the best matches of the night. You should go check that out. Can't get enough Yuka.
Alex, briefly, how are you digging Britt Baker as a heel?
Oh, I love it. I think it really suits her. They could really use somebody like that to anchor that quadrant of the women's division. This really evil, dastardly heel that can do it. Because you have Rio, the babyface we root for, but I'd love to find somebody who doesn't have that that gap for us to be able to I love her promo style. I really root for her. Somebody like that. That Rio's fun to root for because she's small and an underdog, but there's still that gap for us because of the language. I'd love to find somebody that could play off of Britt Baker's dastardly heel thing. Somebody we can really root for, scrappy and fun. I still have. I think Big Swole has a huge upside. I think that she'd be great in that role. They're just kind of slow playing it with her right now.
Mm-hmm. Fortunately, Britt Baker fixes gaps for a living. So
yes, that's true.
The Butcher, the Blade, and the Lucha Brothers defeated the elite combo of Kenny Omega, Hangman Page, and the Young Bucks. I think the Butcher and the Blade particularly needed to be on the winning side of something, because otherwise I'm like, what in the hell did you bring them in for? Why did you give them contracts if they're just going to lose all the time. Because here's the thing. If people are going to lose all the time, you don't got to lock them down for that.
Hey, you know what? Give them the War Raiders treatment. Have them squash jabronis week after week. Have them fight freaking Michael Nakazawa and Cutler and Brandon Cutler. I mean, that's all you need to do. These guys are supposed to be like these killer mercenaries. Make them come across as such.
Literally have them squash local talent like WWE does when they bring in these two dudes and they make them dress up like Chicago Cubs because they're in St. Louis, like that kind of crap. Like you could easily do that with them. I mean, but the thing is, if you're just going to have two guys come in and you say they're great, but then they lose all the time, just sign the Ascension, like, I mean, they're just jobbers that are under contract to you. That's weird.
Warren, what'd you think of the match in particular? Hangman Page ended up taking the pin, which was played up later when the Young Bucks confronted him backstage. Matt Jackson said, I was going to ask what your problem was, but I think I already know. And then Hangman took a drink out of his pitcher of beer, which was comical.
Again, Hangman Page this week getting an extremely hot tag. My God. And he made the most of it. Pescados and lariats everywhere. and the moonsault to the floor. Like he was every one he gets, every hot tag he gets is fantastic, and the crowd is into it too. I felt that we had the story of two matches here, however. I think we had Page and Omega and the wrestlers and the other team, and we had the Young Bucks and the Lucha Bros, which got a little too cute for my taste at some point. And I've pointed this out before. I like the Young Bucks and I like Lucha Bros when they go for it. I know what to expect. That's fine. Sometimes they get a little too choreography for my taste. A lot of waiting around, a lot of stuff where you're like, what is going on here? What are we doing? You know, when Phoenix has Matt and he's trying to do something up on the top rope and he's waiting for Omega to come into position and all that kind of stuff. There's a lot of that happened during the match, which I felt was a major distraction, because when Omega and Page worked with all four other guys, it was really, really smooth and it connected. Everything was great. But I still think this was a really good match. I thought the outcome was perfect. It adds to the storyline of the Elite, as you said, as we saw earlier. Hangman Page is one of their hottest stars right now. I thought, I mean, if they recuperate this, because he was slipping, and they're recuperating his heat, getting him back on top. Listen, this is good on them. This is fantastic work, but I don't. Everyone said, "Okay, the Page when he's going to turn, Page when he's going to turn." Honestly,
it's working right now.
You have to have the Young Bucks turn.
Yeah,
you can't have Page turn. Page is too hot right now.
Yeah, and as reported on FightfulSelect.com, which I will mention every single time, so because I want you all to subscribe to it. I reported today, Tony Khan's been a lot more hands-on with creative, and this angle in particular has been one that he has been very invested in and very hands-on as, and looking pretty good so far. And that's the thing I was told, is that he's went from being the final say in the room to grabbing the bull by the horns, and it's working out pretty well right now. I think it's working out really well. That pitcher of beer spot was just so really clever, so funny. And like I said, he has went from the guy that was the poster boy to just a guy who's really over. Backstage, Kenny Omega is being interviewed after the commercial break, but Pac is backstage with Riho and says Omega ruined the contract signing, and he's not going to hit a woman, but Nyla will. And Nyla power bombs Riho on a table. Oh! And then for some reason, probably because Riho is unconscious or in a coma, talks to Riho via the camera, even though Riho is right next to her. But I can only presume that Rio is being transported to a local medical facility. I dug this. Thought it was good.
I thought it was good, and it's setting up a 30-minute Iron Man match between Omega and Pac in a couple of weeks. Yep, I'm okay with that. What I'm less okay with is Rio versus Nyla 2. I didn't think it was great the first time. I don't exactly see what the interest is in it running that a second time, other than wanting to put the belt on Nyla, which I don't think is a good idea.
I mean, like this, the thing with me is that I feel like they have all the pieces. I think that they need to really get this women's division up and running. They're just not utilizing all of them correctly.
They're not, like, not the right ones.
Not the right ones, and they're like, okay, well, if this person is slotted here instead of here, and then we flip these two, and then like the role for Nyla, I think personally, you could easily have Nyla be this amazing heater and enforcer for somebody like Britt. Like Britt says, I'll fight you if I have to. Instead, I'm going to have this monster come in and destroy you. And that way you can protect both of them in that way. And I'm saying, like, there's all these different versions. Nyla being a top contender against Rio, it doesn't sit right. But you can find a way to use her that will. And I feel like eventually they'll figure out all of it.
All due respect to Riho, she's fantastic in the ring. People liked her at first. Her being champion is really, really starting to stunt the growth of the rest of the division because they're doing the thing with Britt Baker now, and it's working. And along the way, people are getting wins at her expense, which is nice, but you've got Shayna sitting around. You got Statlander just sitting around. You got Big Swole just sitting around. These are people and characters that you need to develop and do something with, and I think they're not doing that. We see a Darby Allin video.
Just more black and white crazy stuff done out of the arena, man.
Yeah.
Talked about this last week. Like the Pac thing was awesome on the steps. Yeah, Darby Allin, if you just want to use that flamethrower to like light lots of things on fire in black and white, I'm here for it.
Yes.
That's cool.
We get not quite a blow off, but a match that's been built up for quite a while now. Kip Sabian defeated Joey Janela after Janela accidentally takes out Ford and Sabian rolls him up with a handful of tights. So this will continue, and I'm okay with this because, quite frankly, they had been doing a lot of stuff on Dark, and Kip Sabian just going to be one of those guys that eventually, he's going to probably get bigger, and he's going to really come into his own on the mic because he can hold his own there as well. I like both of these guys. I liked the match. I thought it was a good match, and definitely worthy of Dynamite because of all they built up with it. Warren, what did you think?
I liked it too. I thought it was a nice crescendo. When we got back from the commercial, everything started cooking, and it was it got really interesting, really fast. I like Kip Sabian a lot. I think the first time I saw him wrestle was it at Double or Nothing on the pre-show or something? It was one of the early AEW pay-per-views against Sammy Guevara, where everyone was putting over Sammy Guevara, so great. Like, yeah, I thought Sabian shone in that match. I'm having trouble with English tonight. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Fightful. But I really like him, and I like the role that Janela's playing. You know what Janela kind of reminds me of? He kind of at least in his attitude, reminds me a lot of Lionheart Chris Jericho.
Yeah.
Back, like
WCW.
Yeah, he reminds me a lot of Jericho when he started to be just a jackass, but he's a friendly jackass with probably the best theme music in AEW. I like it. I like it. He's not afraid to take the big bumps. Maybe he won't be as hardcore as he can be in AEW, but he'll always be ready to put his body on the line for stupid bumps. I like it. Still don't quite understand why they're feuding if he's broken up with Penelope Ford.
Well, that's something they had addressed. Like, Janela doesn't care. He's ready to move on. It's just Sabian and Ford are absolute dicks to him and just keep bothering him. And he's like, leave me alone. So finally he's just like, yeah, I'll fight you.
Okay. But I enjoyed the match, and I'm glad that it's not officially a blow-off, because if they want to push this further, give us more stakes or a stipulation, I think it's going to be real good.
Santana challenges Moxley to a match next week. We see another Dark Order advertisement. Dustin Rhodes talks about Cody and the 10 lashes. Rhodes says it'll be uncomfortable for everybody watching tonight, but Cody will get through this, and that's what takes us to the main event freaking segment. And we've already went long on AEW tonight, but this main event segment was so good.
It was.
So, fortunately, I'm recording, but it's like MJF came out to the ring, had Wardlow by his side, and geez, man, Cody took his jacket off. They milked this old school style, and Jesus Christ, man.
This was so good, and I love that to me, I was watching it, I was like, okay, listen, Cody Rhodes has been in a lot of matches over the years. I know he's been injured. It's not the pain of being whipped with a belt. It's the fact that he can't do anything about it. He's just got to take it. And that part of it also, it added so much to it. And we'll get to it when we go the whole thing, but I want to lay out and let you guys talk about it. But for me, the thing that I was like, oh, Wardlow tried to murder that man with a belt strap.
Yeah.
Like, he tried to actively murder Cody Rhodes with a belt.
Wardlow's like, sorry, buddy, you already signed me to a contract. So this was good. Like, Kip Sabian, Guevara, Butcher, Blade, Bunny, Britt Baker all come out and watch. The baby faces come out. Dustin Rhodes, more people just started to join in. MJF demanded that he use Cody's belt. Yeah. And first off, I had to look down there. I'm like, is he wearing the weight belt? But it was good. It was so old school and good, Warren. Damn it.
Yeah.
And Brandy came out with one left. And Brandy, who's been crazy as hell on TV, and in my experiences with her, and she, just was like, listen, you can make this. You can do this. You got one more. After Wardlow almost killed him. Damn, Warren.
And here's when MJF hit the third one, I mean, the snap it made. I tweeted it out. I was like, this is ridiculous. But somehow Wardlow was able to overcome that. I think he broke the sound barrier doing it. There's no other reason. My God. And I mean, Cody's back was ridiculous. Like, those were some evil welts that he had. There's nothing really problematic with this segment. It was good, and it was the most wrestling thing, and in the best way possible. The only thing I think I would have changed, the one thing, and this is being nitpicky, but you had the heels at the top, and you have the American, the Nightmare family trying to come out with Arn Anderson. What if the heels just like, no, you guys, and they keep them up at the top. Cody is alone, right? And MJF is there with Wardlow, and they just wailing on him. But then you keep the Brandy segment for the last one. You keep Brandy coming down just for that last one, and then the faces shove the heels away. She gets through, and she takes his hand, and she gives her line. It would have added so much more drama to it than having. Because it sort of felt comfortable to have Team Cody around there, but if Cody had been alone, suffering that entire time, and then his wife comes down, that would have been fantastic.
I think that would have done. I think that would have done some harm to Dustin, though. I think that if he didn't come out and be there for him, he would have seemed like a pretty shitty brother.
Not that they couldn't come out. It's the heels would have kept them up at the top of the stage. I'm
going to show you guys that are watching on YouTube. That is MJF's back, or not MJF. That's Cody's back right now. Ow. I love this segment. MJF took a cheap shot and then hit the bricks. They had a quote-unquote fan attack him at the top, which I think is, with a lot of people wondering, is this a plant? Is this not? In previous weeks, I thought this was a smart idea for them to do. I have a hard time believing MJF would punch a fan like that unless it was a plant. You don't club him, I'll tell you that much. You punch him in the face. You deck him. Oh, man, Rob Wilkins says Vince will counter in 2 weeks with waterboarding. Eloquent says, I love when Brandy came out to hype up Cody. As did I, man. As did I. And I like it when you guys hype up FightfulSelect.com, as I am going to do right now. I did a Q&A this past weekend, an hour long, over 140 questions. Did the Fightful Backstage Report. It is about 25 to 35 minutes every week of exclusive backstage news that you will only get at Fightful. Stats, contract updates, injury updates. We have the retro review that dropped this month. It's the NXT Arrival 2014 show. Probably our most recent retro review we've done. We're going to work on getting some more in the can as well. But we've got dozens in the archives. We also give you lots of other exclusive news. We have the List Goes On podcast. It's an additional show, about an extra 15 minutes of the list and your boy every single week. We have the Weekender podcast, which covers your NWA, Beyond, 205 Live, NXT UK, things like that. And then Monday and Friday, Alex Pawlowski covers Raw and SmackDown. Alex, I'll say this. Your isolated clip did some numbers.
Yeah.
All things, considering the fact that YouTube is throttling us, I was very happy with the numbers.
Yeah, I was very happy with that too. I wanted the lot of what I get is that you hate everything. You just hate everything because you hate everything. Well, no, I call them like I see them. A lot of what I see, especially on SmackDown, is utter crap.
Yeah.
But on Raw's been pretty good, especially grading on a curve. Pretty good.
Yeah.
And that segment was just one of the best I've seen in years, if not ever. Wanted to make sure that I gave it the right amount of praise.
It's so weird how good Raw got, and SmackDown has to fill up 66% of the same real estate, and they have Roman Reigns, The Fiend, they have Daniel Bryan, they have
The New Day.
The New Day.
They're really good people. They're not even putting on TV.
Oh, God, man. But we're going to talk NXT. The Broserweights come out on a custom ATV with the Dusty Classic trophy.
With the golf cart. And the Dusty Classic basically coming through the sunroof. God, it was great.
All I want to know is, where in the blue hell was this Matt Riddle when we were running a weekly podcast? Occasionally, I would get digging holes. I would get that Matt Riddle. But he cuts a promo, and I loved it. I thought it was so entertaining. But also, when I see this, I always got a fear. I'm like, oh my God, is this going to be him forever? Is this going to be all he does? Because I've heard some things about NXT wanting to lighten things up, and I will do a report on Fightful Select about that very soon after I get a couple more sources. But this was Undisputed Era coming out, and I loved the play with the names. I loved it. When Bobby Fish said, we have bigger fish to fry, and Matt Riddle said, Bobby Fish said fish. And then he goes, riddle me this. Like, there are a lot of people that think that he was very particular about things in the contract. Like, he's a very savvy guy. He's a very savvy guy. And also, I apologize for OBS repeatedly disconnecting, guys. As long as the video and audio are all right, we'll be good. I'll see what's up with that. But
I don't know if we can actually really make money with this guy on the main roster. Are you kidding me?
Will they memorize that? Yeah, I just did.
Yeah. That he has such amazing opportunity to use the two facets of it. I always talk about this, that he's like basically just he's Bill and Ted, like when he talks, or like outside the ring or whatever, but in the ring when the bell goes off, he's a murderer. Like that's an amazing character. People will love to watch and root for. And also, like, basically, he could do the exact same thing and be a heel. Because, like, hey, man, whatever. I can't wait to kick your ass. And then he does it.
WWE dropped the ball so much on not utilizing on this type of charisma with Rob Van Dam and just having him say cool and whatever. There is something particularly unique about a guy who does not care if he's goofy. You don't know if he's sarcastic. You don't know if he's being a dick. You cannot tell if he's nice, mean, an asshole. But the thing is, you don't want to find out because he'll kick the shit out of you if you bother to ask. And that's what Matt has. And this got over. People are going to chant this at Bobby Fish. And also, Pete Dunne should not have said we're going to smoke the Undisputed Era. He should have said we're going to smoke Bobby Fish. Like, there's no... should have just said Bobby Fish. Yeah. They should particularly bully Bobby Fish.
Well, the other thing that I love now that I think is going to get over forever for Riddle is Riddle's gonna smoke you.
Oh God, yes.
That's so good. I love it. Full Sail finds these wonderful things to just latch onto and it's theirs, and it can translate further beyond that for when they're potentially using these people in bigger spots on Mondays and Fridays as well. I think that it'll definitely translate to both those places.
Also, I like it when they basically nerf old people's stuff who have been canceled, like Enzo Amore, and give it to somebody else, like Keith Lee.
Yes.
That works too. Up next, we had Angel Garza defeating Isaiah Swerve Scott. I did not get to hear commentary during this. I really, really want Morrow or Beth, or I almost call him Desmond Wolfe every time, Nigel McGuinness, to say NXT and Raw have a little bit more leeway in the brand split because they're on the same network. That's all I need. Right. I need that one line. I need Zelina called in a favor from William Regal because they used to work together. Something. I need a little bit of a reason. That's it. Just I want to give them leeway. That's the thing. I want to give them leeway. But Angel Garza wins this. How'd you feel?
Well, this is the thing, but when Angel Garza showed up on Raw, I was like, man, NXT did such a great job of pulling the trigger on that face turn exactly when it needed to happen. And all of a sudden, Raw's like, nope, we need to be heel again. Bye. And like, oh, okay.
Hey, buddy, he took out Humberto Carrillo. He's a baby face.
No, he took out Rey Mysterio.
Yeah,
like that's the thing that he did. And they're obviously saying, hey, Andrade's out for a month. Let's replace him with this other guy who Vince probably thinks is Andrade. Like, he's a Latin guy. He's handsome. He's got a little bit of beard, black hair. Like that's basically thinks the same thing. So it's weird to have him be super heel. He tries to murder Rey Mysterio on Raw, and it comes to Full Sail, and Full Sail says, we don't pay attention to that shit. We still love this guy. You're a babyface god to us. But he's still definitely being a heel, and Morrow is referring to his dastardly ways on Raw. So it's a weird dichotomy that Full Sail says, no, we're still going to cheer for this guy like he's the dude who we last saw here when he was the Cruiserweight champion, and they're trying to put him over as this heel. It's a weird thing that they're going to have to figure out how to reconcile. However, the match was awesome. I loved Swerve. The match was so good. It started out fire, like that whole counters and all this kind of stuff. Nobody was able to actually get a beat on each other. It was all so great to start the match off. All those the near falls and all that stuff. It was all fantastic, and I love at the end. Garza said, "I didn't actually get pinned for my title. I want Jordan Devlin." And Jordan Devlin's still definitely wrestling heel. So I love that it doesn't matter right now. It's just Angel Garza says, I want my Cruiserweight title back, which to me says he's not on Raw. He's an NXT guy who's just on loan to Zelina Vega for as long as they need him, which is, I don't know, about a month.
Can you imagine Vince bumping into, going over to Garza backstage and saying, hey, have you seen Charlotte? And Angel's like, I don't know.
I thought I suspended you.
Damn. Dominic Dijakovic defeated Killian Dane. We now have Dijakovic against Keith Lee next week. Killian Dane needs a little something. He's missing a little something right now. He had such purpose with Sanity, but right now he's swimming in a sea of big men behind soon-to-be Killer Cross, Dominic Dijakovic, Keith Lee. it ain't easy to be like the 4th or 5th best big man on that brand. It ain't easy doing that. And if he had a tag team partner, Alexander Wolf was a pretty good one, I thought. But if he had a tag team partner, I think that could be a little bit of something for him. But now when he comes on TV, it's not like I dread his matches. I know he ain't going to win.
Someone needs to fill that role in NXT. The big dude who's threatening but doesn't ever win the matches. Like they've always had a guy like that. But as I've always said, like anytime they want to pull the trigger on him, all of a sudden book him to start winning matches. In 3 or 4 weeks, he's a legitimate contender for the North American title because they have that there. He's certainly talented enough. They could do that with him whenever they like. But I agree with you. Like he's in this. NXT is a logjam in so many different divisions. The women's division has so many talented women they don't know what to do with. All these people who are just hovering right below where they would need to be to get a title shot for the North American Championship. All of them. And all it needs is like they say, okay, we're pulling the trigger on you for a month.
And they got a lot of guys like Arturo Ruas. They haven't done anything with him. Benoni, who hasn't wrestled since like November. I know Boa's out with an injury, but like Dexter Lumis.
Lumis was so charismatic in that one match he had in that tournament.
Yeah.
I was like, I can't wait to see more of that guy. Haven't seen him on TV since. Like we haven't seen Cameron Grimes in a month.
I know the hat.
You know what? I could think of far worse things than Cameron Grimes with a big Killian Dane. Your speed. I could think of a lot worse things than that. Dorian Mock doesn't have a partner. I don't know what the hell they'll do with him. Probably the exact same thing they've been doing with him for 5 years. But his partner got a new deal and was like, later. You got Malcolm Bivens, who doesn't have anybody to manage right now. Maybe it'll be Thatcher, though. Mike Kanellis ain't doing anything. Are they going to team him with Tony Nese permanently? I don't know. But he just had his kid, so maybe he's got some time off.
You know who could use who could very well use a big guy to fight his battles for him out of the ring?
Who?
Jordan Devlin, and they're both from Ireland. Like that's something
like that.
they could easily do. Where like Jordan Devlin doesn't want to fight you in the ring, so he'll enlist his giant dude to beat you up backstage.
And the thing is, you see how good Devlin is in the ring, so it makes it even. It's a very Shawn Michaels thing. You know he's capable in the ring.
Yeah.
But there you go. We see a thing with Sergeant Slaughter in the crowd. Cool, man.
Thanks for showing up.
Mercedes Martinez defeated Casey Catanzaro. Warren, I'm glad Mercedes is getting a win here. They signed her, and they did not waste any time, and I appreciate that.
I appreciate that tons. I'm a big fan of Mercedes. Been following her career for a couple of years. She's had a long, extended career, a very, very, very long one. She's worked all over the world. She's done all the indies. She's been everywhere. She even had this is her second time in NXT. I don't think she was signed after she was done with the first Mae Young Classic, but I do remember seeing her in a match or two.
She had matches, yeah.
I'm glad she has a home, and this is always the thing when they sign new women. You're like, well, like when they sign Deanna, when they sign Chelsea, they have a tendency to pick up women and then shell them for a while. And I'm like, no, Mercedes is too good. She really is. She really has something that a lot of women in the division don't have. And here's the thing. If they are planning on bringing Shayna up, changing brands with Shayna, there's your final boss replacement right there, ladies and gentlemen. There's your badass killer, will snap your neck in a heartbeat champion right there.
At the very least, she's the gatekeeper that the baby faces have to get through in order to be seen as legitimate contenders to a heel champion. Like it's that kind of a thing. But I also love Mercedes Martinez. I think that she's great. I feel like there's if you don't want to like just let her again. There's a log jam in the women's division. If she's just going to be there to like pick up some victories, lose to put over a younger babyface, fine. But also there's some people on quote unquote the main roster who could definitely use a heater type in Mercedes Martinez who could just come in, wreck shop and move off to the side. Like there's a lot of cool stuff they could do with her elsewhere. A lot of people ask me when I think of certain NXT women. I'm like, I think they're great. I think they've reached their ceiling in NXT, but they're better than 80% of the women on the main roster. So get them over there. Let them do their thing, because I mean, there's a lot of women I would go through in NXT before I would say that they would go through an NXT before I would say, oh, they're on the same level as, say, Dana Brooke. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, they're better than a lot of people on the main roster.
Jordan Devlin defeated Tyler Breeze. This was a long match. I'm talking like 15, 16 minutes. They got their use out of Tyler Breeze here. Alex, how'd you feel about this one?
Well, I thought it was weird because it's like Jordan Devlin is your new cruiserweight title. As far as I know, this is his first match at Full Sail.
Yeah,
he won the cruiserweight title at the Worlds Collide thing. This crowd, I'm sure, is familiar with the work of Jordan Devlin, but has never seen him live. And I thought what you were going to do by having him, wrestle the equivalent of a good hand in NXT, Tyler Breeze, who I love, but it's not. I don't feel like he's in a position to like be a title contender right now at this point in his career, at least what they're doing with him. I thought that he was going to win strong, 4 or 5 minutes. Let Tyler Breeze look good in defeat, but that's it, and then have Jordan Devlin get on the mic and say, "Okay, Angel Garza, I heard you. You want your title back? And all of a sudden we're like, well, I just saw this guy wreck Tyler Breeze in 4 minutes. I believe that he's got a chance to beat Angel Garza. In this case, it looked like it took him forever to beat Tyler Breeze, and so that kind of hurts that whole perception of him to me."
Yeah, that was the thing. If they were going to do that, I just wish they would have said this is an NXT title match, because then I could believe that Tyler Breeze got up for this match, because on NXT's Twitter they were like, performance of a lifetime from Tyler Breeze, and I was like, really? I was just like, man, this was really long. I didn't need this match to be this long if no title was on the line. And all due respect, it was a fine match, but yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you completely there. Bianca Belair comes out to the ring, and a thing that I had an issue with before this was the fact that Charlotte and Rhea had their deal kicked off before Portland. Yep. Now I'm thinking, turns out Raw might know a little bit better than me these days. I'm just gonna, in Raw we trust at this point, because if we get a triple threat match out of this, you know what? Don't even get the hose. I will put my head right under the water spigot and just douse myself. Because
is there a holy water dispenser at the Jesus golf course?
We can hope. You know what? I think they have vending machines inside. You can get an Aquafina. At this point, heck, I'd even take a Dasani. I'm so thirsty for this match. That's how just desperate I am. I have been begging for months and months and months. You have Bayley, Sasha, Charlotte, and Becky. Those are the pillars because WWE has established them as the pillars. Yeah. They got a goddamn nickname. They've all been given title reigns. Now, occasionally, you got Carmella, you got Alexa, you got Anaya, you've got Naomi. Asuka. You've got some placeholders and people that can support that division. But I don't know that any of them, and Ronda's really the only one that has ever been portrayed as on the level of the horsewomen. What I think they need to do, Rhea at the very least has to be. But if you can also portray Bianca Belair there, and then eventually one goes to Raw, one goes to SmackDown, that's a pretty good damn position to be in.
Yeah.
Because I think that's been the issue with some of this stuff. Alexa, really charismatic, can cut really good heel promos, can deliver in the ring. Carmella got to a point to where she carried Charlotte in her return match. Last year, or a year and a half ago, Alex. I remember it kind of surprised us. Naomi has shown amazing things. She's shown really good glimpses of stuff. We know Asuka can be whatever they need her to be. She is a chameleon. She can fit in anywhere. but they got to portray two women as on the level of those four. And I think that this went a long way. Charlotte interrupted Bianca Belair and said, hey, Rhea overlooked you. You should be pissed off about this. Then Rhea came out. Both Rhea and Bianca end up attacking Charlotte. This was good shit, pal.
Yeah, this was so good because it allowed you to play off of all three of their strengths. Because Charlotte is dismissive of anybody who isn't Charlotte. Like, just period. That's just who Charlotte's always been, heel or face. But I like that she's trying to like stir up some shit between Bianca and Rhea.
Yes.
But I love that the Rhea's like when Rhea steps in between the two of them, like because Charlotte and Rhea like basically not even pretending that Bianca's not there. Bianca steps in between them, talking to Charlotte, but then also talks to Rhea, who's behind her, without even turning around. Yeah. That was great. Bianca has so much charisma, just naked charisma. Like, she comes out and you're like, wow, who is that? I need to know more about her. Also, there is this renaissance of black women fandom in WWE and wrestling, coming out of Naomi coming back and Bianca here, and Bianca coming out with her little crop top that just says melanin over and over again. She knows who she's playing to. There's a huge fan base out there, untapped, that WWE can grab onto and bring in. And by elevating people like Bianca and Naomi, they absolutely should do that, because they're the people who, let's say, are going to love Lacey Evans. They already watch WWE. Mm-hmm. There are people out there who don't watch WWE who would be attracted to a Bianca or a Naomi at the top. Bianca's just amazing, and I love Rhea siding with Bianca over Charlotte, because who are you, Charlotte, to come in here and act like you still own the place? Like, that's what I love about it, is that they recognize we are NXT, not you. And that I loved. And I also love the fact that there is a level of respect between Rhea and Bianca that deserves to be there. Hell, if Charlotte decides she wants to get involved in the NXT TakeOver Portland match, and that leads to a triple threat at Mania,
yes,
I'm in. I'm so in.
So that sets up a question. By the way, guys, if you're in the Cincinnati area, I'll be on ESPN 1530 hosting No Holds Barred, mere hours before NXT TakeOver Portland, so make sure you guys tune in. But Taryn Riddick said, after a return tonight, do we get a rare 7-match TakeOver card with Dream versus Strong added? If so, I'm totally fine with that. So Portland's on a Sunday this time, right?
Yes.
That kind of gives it a little more room, I think. Also, it also gives you a little more room to have a Rhea Ripley versus Bianca Belair match end in what we call a fuck finish.
Yes.
Because if you've got 7 matches, that type of crowd might not feel so ripped off. Also, NXT is such a uniquely conditioned crowd, Warren, that I think that if Charlotte Flair shows up, it's like, is that a screw job finish? Maybe not really, because Charlotte Flair is one of the biggest women's stars of all time.
Right. And she has the history, right?
Yeah.
The NXT crowd knows its history, knows its stars. Just the reception that Kevin Owens got at War Games, I think it's one of the. It challenges any of the most thunderous pops that ever happened in the history of WWE. That was insane, the reception he got. And I agree, it would be welcomed as a storyline, because especially if it leads into Mania. Look, the NXT fans want NXT to do well, to get props. They want the stars to get the proper recognition they want. If they are, signs are pointing towards NXT getting some shine at WrestleMania. No one is going to be against that, I don't think. But then again, wrestling fandom is weird. Yeah. but I think, instantly the path appears. If Charlotte shows up at Portland and screws around with the finish, the path becomes clear. I would dig that so much. And Bianca tonight, she showed the most personality she's shown in a long time. When Charlotte came out to interrupt her, I lowered the volume of commentary on AEW to listen to this promo. It got me captivated and attentive. I I just wanted Bianca to slap Charlotte around when she pushed her away that first time.
Yeah.
My God, I was in on it. She was fantastic. She carried the segment. Let's be frank, guys. She carried this segment. It was good. It was all good.
Really, really dug this. Jay Lee sends a super chat and says, great matches, worked for a while, but NXT found the promos and character stuff they were missing tonight. Yeah, that's a thing. Like, I don't want you all to think that I didn't think NXT was good. I thought it was an awesome show. And I think if you ran like a clip show, I don't want to say clip show, if you cut out a couple of things that weren't needed in NXT, it would be the better show in totality. But the way that AEW was able to build up and build to their final angle, boy, that just set old school wrestling with me and built up to the most important thing. Whereas I thought that the main event of this show wasn't necessarily the biggest thing, but what happened after the main event was, and it felt like I didn't need all of that to get there. But let's talk about it because I loved what set up all that. That was the Undisputed Era running amok backstage. This ruled and weaved in and out of the show. They were beating people up and attacking people. They put Kushida in a damn trash can. Bronson Reed looked like a dipshit, and it was a little funny.
Well,
go ahead.
What I did love about it was the idea that it's four guys.
Yes.
And they're all really good fighters.
Yes.
They're all small. They're too small to be wrestlers. They're too small. Look how small they are. Well, if there's four of them, one big dude gets blindsided by a flying knee. You know, like I love Bronson, like seeing them put Kushida, who's as close to like wrestling royalty that we have in this world, and they treat him like just some friggin' jobber because of course the UE does.
Yes.
They don't have any regard for any of that crap. And they throw him in the trash, and Bronson Reed knows who that is and has respect for Kushida, and like, we don't have a problem with you, big man. Like, no, you do have a problem with me. And I love that about Bronson Reed trying to stiff up for him. But yes, he got blindsided by a flying knee to the temple.
It was like funny
because he was staring directly in the face of Adam Cole and didn't see a flying Roderick Strong knee. Like, that totally makes sense to me. Also, them like the screwing with the poor kid's haircut. I don't know who that was, but I guess he's got a new gimmick as a buzz cut dude. That was all fun. But I also love Ciampa jumping him out of a side of a truck, just going after all of that. Was so cool, and all of that was just set up so well.
So I'm not going to spoil what happened on AEW because I know a lot of people watch our reviews a little bit separately and don't want to get spoiled, but Pete Dunne, Matt Riddle, and Tommaso Ciampa defeated Undisputed Era via DQ when Roderick Strong interfered, but I did not have my eyes on this main event because ultimately I knew that whatever happened during it during the match was not as important as what was happening on the AEW screen. However, afterwards, Ciampa gets spray painted up. I'm told doctors legit checked on him after this match. Don't have an update though.
Oh, that was so scary when he was hobbling around in that knee, that surgically repaired knee. Yeah. Like, I was like, if you're acting, Ciampa, screw you. Don't mess with me.
Yeah.
But if you're not, no, not again. Oh. Not Ciampa, not again. You know, like, that was really scary.
Well, a big return happened, and we haven't seen Velveteen Dream since the first NXT on USA, and he's back. And the thing is, NXT's been a real good show even without him. Oh, Velveteen Dream's back. Alex, you had the first crack at this one.
He's the kind of guy that if you built the show around him, I'm not saying he's got to be the top champion, but you can build a show around that guy so whenever he shows up on screen, you got people who are watching NXT who text their friends who are watching AEW, switch over NXT, Dream's on. Like, that's the kind of guy who does that for NXT. Because anytime he's there, you have to watch what he does. He's this captivating figure. So him coming back and attacking all four members of UE like only he can, with like haphazard roundhouse punches that are like missing 40% but hitting 70%. Like, I don't know how that's possible because the math is all wrong, but that's what he's throwing, these haymakers.
They were funny.
I love it.
Let me tell you, not technically sound, and I cover a lot of MMA. Sometimes punches not being technically sound bother me. The Pete Dunne slugging them out punches, I hate them. They look like dog shit. They look like he's never been in a fight in his life. Meanwhile, there are other ones I see, like when Jordan Devlin does them, and they look a lot better. He doesn't necessarily, they're arm punches, but they're not bad ones, all things considered. These worked so much because it's like he threw so many wild-ass punches, Warren, that he was bound to land eventually. That's the thing.
It's the law of averages, right?
Yeah. It's like you buy 100 lottery tickets, scratch-off lottery tickets, you're going to get a couple $2 winners. And sometimes that's all you need to buy your McChicken. And that's all that Velveteen Dream needed to clear that ring. He's had to buy a few McChickens. He wasn't worried about the numbers. He was just chucking and ducking. Maybe not even ducking. But I'm just glad to see him back. Warren, how'd you feel about the return?
The only thing I'm going to add from Alex's fantastic analysis is, did you notice the tights?
Of course.
I did. Oh, they had
his face alongside Marina Shafir and Roderick Strong's kid.
Troy.
And on his ass was written, "Call me Marina."
No, call me up, Marina.
Call me up, Marina.
Which was so great because it's a nod back to the first tights which said, "Call me up, Vince." Like, this is so good. He's such a showman. Such a showman. And I love that it is personal between him and Roddy. Like, he hates the whole faction, but he hates Roddy. And that's perfect because it gives us another match to look forward to eventually, even if it's not on TakeOver. But that Dream versus Roddy match is going to be so personal. And I think it was so great, man. And that his Dream Valley driver, it's like just basically a cartwheel. That was so smooth tonight, man. I'm so happy to have him back. Like I say, NXT should really utilize this guy.
I mean,
and make him the face of NXT.
You talk about him being a showman. I mean, quite honestly, the way that he first became known in wrestling is because when they didn't have a flag for the national anthem at an indie show, he happened to be wearing American flag pants and was like, "Hey, everybody, I got you covered." And the crowd turned to him like that. Like, I don't know if you guys have ever seen that photo, but that was the thing that happened with old Patrick Clark back in the day. He got through on Tough Enough, and there are a lot of people who do well on Tough Enough, and then just ZZ, WWE wanted ZZ to be a thing so bad. Daniel Rodheimer, they gave him every chance. They were going to fast track him. Sarah Lee, she gone. Josh Breedle, no. Daniel Puder, gone. But Velveteen Dream wasn't, like, Patrick Clark could have just tried to be Patrick Clark, but he became Velveteen Dream. And you don't even remember he was on Tough Enough now. Nope. That's the thing. Like,
and neither does the Velveteen Dream.
Yes, exactly. JJ Leith says, didn't get the 4 versus 3 setup, so I'm glad Roddy causing the DQ gave Dream a reason to come out as opposed to just him showing up for the pop. I do too. By the way, this is what those little vignettes were setting up. I do like that there was a little bit of doubt because, you know, Killer Kross has had some countdown stuff, so they played off of that a little bit. They announced his signing and Timothy Thatcher's last night, so naturally some people were like, okay, could it be him? Thought they played it off well. NXT, very good tonight, and so are all of our shows, guys, including the SmackDown post-show this Friday that we'll have with myself and Mr. Warren Hayes. I'm doing a live watch-along of the
I won't be here on Friday.
Oh, you won't be here. Sorry. No. That's Robert DeFelice that's filling in this Friday. Damn. Well, at least we might have a Valentine's date, right?
Oh, we definitely will, Sean.
We do. Okay, good. So Robert DeFelice filling in this Friday. But my God, man, this is I'm doing a post show, or not a post show, a live watch along of Dom Reyes versus John Jones from the minute the walkouts start to the end of that fight. I will recap this weekend's UFC show on that as well. You guys are digging the watch along format, so I'm going to keep doing those. But Alex, what do you got going on this week?
I got gotta watch SmackDown. Gotta see. Gotta watch SmackDown. Gotta see who's next for Goldberg at Sands of Time.
Do you think Rhea's gonna get heat for calling out main roster stars because they're not supposed to do that anymore?
Oh God!
And even furthermore, who's gonna get in trouble for talking to the Dirt Sheet on Friday SmackDown?
I don't know. I can't wait to find out.
Do you think they're gonna have a meeting? You know what? This plays into NXT AEW stuff. We talked about it on Listen You Boy. There was a meeting last week where, after the Matt Riddle thing, people in NXT's orientation class were told, "Don't talk to Dirt Sheets." Or I won't say that that's verbatim how it was. I wasn't in that meeting, but that news got out to, or no, that wasn't what happened. They said don't call out main roster stars. Yeah. And then that news leaked to Wrestling Observer newsletter, and then they held another meeting last Wednesday telling talent, hey, you probably shouldn't talk to Dirt Sheets, this or that or the other. I don't know how it was phrased, but I had people that I had never talked to hitting the DMs saying, they had the balls to, right after saying that, say, by the way, you guys need to prove that you have health coverage because you're independent contractors, even though we just told you who to not talk to. And that didn't sit well with people. Alex, what are your thoughts on that?
Nor should it.
Yeah.
If I'm covering my own ass with health insurance, you don't get to play daddy and tell me who I can talk to. Like no. If I'm on your insurance, daddy, then you can tell me what to do. Yeah. But if I'm not, if I'm covering my own ass, then my ass is mine and I get to do whatever I want with it. Like no.
Put it like this.
I don't love it.
We're independent contractors here.
Yep.
Has anybody ever said to one of us, you can't appear on this other podcast, hey, you can't talk to this person? It doesn't I'm going to ESPN radio in a couple weeks. I got to hopefully get home in time to do a review for Portland. Like, that was no issue. Like, I wasn't told, don't talk to that person, don't do that. Independent contractors. If you want to make them employees, maybe you'll have a little bit more leverage. And I get it. Of course I want them to talk to me. I particularly liked it when one hit me up and said, they told me this, so here I am. That was the exact phrase, so here I am. It's just like, man. And there's some crowding issues at NXT. There are some frustrated people in NXT, but then again, there are a lot of people that are thrilled too. I've got some news on both sides of those things coming to FightfulSelect.com. Warren, what are you doing this week? You busy?
Oh, as usual. Tomorrow evening, 9 p.m. Eastern, I have my own weekly wrestling wrap-up discussion. I'm telling you, I'll straighten out my English for tomorrow. YouTube.com/Mr. Warren Hayes. And hey, do me a favor. Do me a favor. Today is National Girls and Women in Sports Day. Yeah. And your girl, Kristen Ashley, she wrote up a really great article where she spoke to some wrestlers about being a woman in a competitive athletic field. And she has it up over on belltobells.com. That's BELLTOBELLES. It's her website that she runs. She has quotes from Brandy Rhodes, Holodead, Jazz, Evilise, and more. So go check it out. It's a great article. It's a great way to close up this day that has some great intentions. Go check that out.
Yeah, well worth checking out, guys. I was able to read that today. Good stuff. And I know that she had also reached out to WWE people. This seems like the kind of thing they should want their wrestlers lending quotes to. I think you guys are really going to like that piece. Until next time, guys, leave a thumbs up, subscribe, tap that bell for notifications. We're out.